Okay, so we're about a minute in, so we're going to get started. First off, happy Friday, everyone. We're really excited to be here with you guys today. It's Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys are getting out, staying safe, staying social distance, but having some fun and enjoying this beautiful weather that we have, hopefully where you're at as well. So today we're having a really special call, and I'm super excited to ask these ladies some questions. We have Courtney Duinker and we have Jessica Griffin with us. They are both in superstar qual right now. Both of them 15 star, the highest you can get in the company, and they're both killing it. So I hope you guys have some questions. You guys can post your questions in the chat room. We could probably also take ourselves off mute on this call because I don't really see we have, over 100 people. We'll kind of see where we're at. But if you feel comfortable taking yourself off mute, we can totally ask questions that way as well. But before we get started, I want our guests to kind of introduce themselves. So Courtney, why don't we start with you? Why don't you tell us, a little bit about yourself, how you got started with Beachbody, and kind of where you're at today with it.
Absolutely. Excuse me while I'm still waking up. It's 6 a.m. here in Hawaii. So I'm struggling a bit to think at this time of the day, but I'm so grateful to be here. So I have been a coach for over 4.5 years. I signed up on my birthday, and the reason I signed up was because I was living overseas. My husband was playing professional basketball, and I was looking for something for me. I was working in corporate, and I felt like this was not what I really wanted. I thought that I wanted to work in that job and in that environment. And I looked around and I was like, this is just not what I'm looking for. And I see a lot of my coworkers bringing their kids in on the weekends to just get through some emails. And I was like, this is just like not the life that I want for my future. So I figured, well, I have to change something. And so coaching came into my life, and I decided to dive into that opportunity. So I just kind of started running from there, and it's been a journey. It's been a lot of ups and downs. But we were in superstar qualifications at the end of the fourth quarter last year, 2018. Dropped out in the fourth week, which was heartbreaking. But we rallied, and we're here today. And it's just kind of a testament to, you have to have the right people who are all in building with you. So that's just a little bit about me. I guess I've been married for 5 years, and now we live in Hawaii. My husband retired this summer and is doing ministry work. So he's working with a nonprofit in sports ministry now. So that's why we're here.
I love it. Seriously, Court is like the definition of never giving up in this business. And I love that so much about her. Jessica, let's go to you.
Okay. Hi, guys. How are you? Hi, Courtney. It's nice to meet you. I've never met you before. So I am Jess Griffin. I am a mom of 3 daughters, married to a police officer. He actually was a former professional baseball player when we met. So we have that in common, Court. Came to Beachbody by way of, I was a personal trainer. I owned my own personal training company, my own fitness studio. I started with boot camps in the park, grew that to a few parks, grew that to a small studio, a bigger studio. Before that, I was a teacher. I taught for 13 years. I really came to fitness and nutrition through Crohn's disease, which I've had since 14. And that's really what got me into this lifestyle. Really just doing it for myself, trying to keep myself off of steroids and out of the hospital, and dealing with weight loss and weight gain and anxiety and depression, all the stuff that comes within when you're, living with chronic illness on a daily basis. So it really just became a way to control and not sit victim to this disease, which I did for a good decade before I sorted it out. And then once I sorted it out, it became my lifeline. So I was teaching. This was my hobby, my passion that I was going to do later on in life. I lost my dad 13 years into teaching. Within 6 months, he thought he was having a kidney stone. It turned out it was stage 4 kidney cancer. And we lost him, and I just did a complete 180 and said, I'm not going to wait to go do what I want to do. I feel like I can help people with preventable illness. I can help them from dying too young. I can, make a difference. And that's how NJ Fit Mom started. And then NJ Fit Mom lasted 7 years. We lost our studio, we lost our business, $75,000 in debt. And this amazing opportunity came into my life. Quietly knocking, and then louder knocking, and then louder knocking, as much as I tried to put my hand over my ears and ignore it and keep pushing it out of my universe. It just kept coming into my path, and decided to take a risk and see what this was all about. And haven't stopped since. This was just my 3rd year. I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary being a coach. So grateful to this company and the humans that I get to work with and the lives I get to change. It's just, it's been a lifeline. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to keep asking you questions. And I think, I'm sure a lot of people on this call can relate to your story a little bit of this keep knocking at your door and then re-knocking and then re-knocking and re-knocking until you finally say yes. And I think that's why this business is so beautiful and why it's so important to make sure that we're following up with our people, because you had to be followed up with. And it's such a good reminder. Okay, guys, let's dive into questions. You guys can start posting them in the chat. I'll go ahead and ask the first one. So vital behaviors, huge with Beachbody. So let's kind of go right into the inviting process of it. What do you guys do for your inviting process? And, Jess, we can start with you, and then Court, we could just go right to you. What does your inviting process look like? How do you do it? And who are you inviting?
So my process is really simple, which is what I try to teach my new coaches. It's a very short, hey, this is going on. Do you want more information on it? Keeping it as simple as I can. I love to do event pages. So when I have a date that I'm starting, and I gear for one specific day in the month that I'm inviting to, where I want all my wellness warriors or my challengers coming. So I just kind of back that up. I'll do an event page, and then I can mass invite to the event page, and it's like Strong as a Mother boot camp starting on this date. And then I can invite people, and then I can go back and I will PM them. Hey, did you get my invite? Did you see my invite to the page? And it's just a simple question like that. And some people say, oh no, I didn't see it. Some people ignore, but it gets it started. I also have compiled an email list, obviously over 3 years of doing this. So when I do something like that too, I'll send an email, and then I send them a quick follow-up. Hey, did you get my email about the new thing we're doing? Just to get the conversation started. And then did you ask who am I inviting?
Yeah, who are you inviting?
I'm inviting everybody and their mother. That's who I'm inviting. Everybody and their mother and their mother's mother. I do not place any, I try to make no assumptions. And that's what I teach my coaches too, is I don't disqualify anybody. I just put my head down and I invite, because I know what this has done for all the women that have come into my wellness group. So anybody I invite, grandmothers, new mothers, you name it. Nobody is safe.
I love that. Court, what about you?
Yeah, so I would say that I don't necessarily have to invite to the boot camp right now. I can post on social media and share on my Instagram stories. I've built that following over time, where as far as the boot camp and just hitting those goals each month, I can do call to actions in my stories. And I really be very intentional about like breaking it down, about the cost, the value of it. I'm answering all of the questions that they would have if they were interested in the boot camp on my stories. And I've noticed that gets a lot more, like as soon as people fill out my application, they're ready to sign up in that moment, because they already know the cost. They already know what they get when they sign up. They already understand the value of Shakeology. So probably when I'm, kind of pushing for a boot camp, I'll do every other day on my Instagram stories, just being very honest about what they get. And I think that honesty and that confidence and just saying it how it is and what they get and the value of it. And then adding something special into it. So I've done book clubs. I'm now doing Zoom calls with my girls once a week, as well as like a WhatsApp chat group where we're texting each other. So just really sharing how I build community through my group that stands out differently than maybe other groups that they come against or come on and see on social media. So that is something different, I think, that I've changed in the last few months, and that helps because people are ready. I usually don't get a lot of people that don't end up signing up once they fill out my form. The other thing would be coach inviting, so that I still do invite to, and I do use voice messages to people that are following me on social media. I'm really looking for a certain kind of person. I don't want to work with everybody, so I am looking specifically with coaching. And so I'm looking through my followers, figuring out who is someone that I do want to work with. And so then I'm sending them a voice message from there, telling them, hey, I see you as a part of our team, and this is what coaching is. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. And I think when they hear my voice, they're surprised that I sent a voice message. It's not just like a copy and paste text message. So I've seen a lot of really good responses from that. And if they don't respond, because sometimes Instagram can be weird where you send a voice message to someone you haven't chatted with before, they may not be notified that there's a new message. I know some of my brand new girls are having problems with that. So I'll send a text message after that through IG DMs and be like, hey, did you hear my voice message above? Same thing as Jessica, just touching base with them, making sure that they actually listened to it or they saw it. It's not just spam that they're getting. That seems to be working well for me. But before social media had grown, I was inviting, of course. And so just keeping it super simple, same thing as Jessica, and just really, honestly, like I tell my girls all the time, you cannot out invite a great transformation photo. And that's coming from someone who did not have a lot of weight to lose. Like I didn't have weight to lose. I didn't really have a story that I thought, well, what is my transformation going to be? Right. But I've put on so much muscle over the years of like being consistent every single day. I wouldn't say like, okay, maybe not so much muscle, but like, I feel like it's a lot of muscle for like my little arms, right? I'm like, dang, I've got biceps. So I feel like anything that you can transform, and even maybe same with Jessica, she could probably say with her journey with Crohn's, like she's sharing how she's transforming through health and wellness. And regardless of its physical, mental, even mindset, spiritual, all of those things can transform for you through this process. So really like, the visual aids are super helpful.
So good. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say totally to always be showing evidence because people need to see proof and evidence. But I was going to say the JOT form is so important with an invite. Like for me, once they respond, I take them right to that so that I can then learn about them. And then I take it right to voice and we talk about what's on it. I think sometimes coaches will say, people, we talk and then they ghost me. I'm like, well, what were they working on? What were their goals? And so coaches instead they invite and they get somebody to answer and they get so excited. So they just kind of like puke everything all over them, like all the information, right? But it's like taking that step to ask questions, to talk about their goals, to talk about their struggles, and then, show them what it is you're doing. And like Courtney said, if they're watching your stories, they know what you're doing. They should have a really good idea. It shouldn't be like, oh, what? You want me to drink mom crack in the morning? Like, it should not be anything. The objection should be very low.
I love that. I mean, I think it's both you guys are leading in with the total solution, leading in with these are the results that you get, being honest with it, and really having that touch point of that connection, those voice messages. Genius. So good. Okay. Next question is from Rachel. She said 15 qual is amazing team effort. How did you get your team to rally and to catch the vision of we, not me? And then how did you keep the momentum moving forward? Accountability, group chats, mentorship. What are you doing? And this is for whoever wants to go first.
Sure. I'll go first. My team is amazing. So we just did an 11-star qual in fourth quarter. So I feel like we had all of this momentum and linking arms, and this is what this team is. It's just it's the cohesiveness and the community. And like Courtney said, like not working with anybody. So when you're really clear on your messaging and who you're working with, I find that the right people are attracted to you. So you're not pulling, you're linking. So I'm super fortunate. The women that I work with, they see the same vision for the team that I see. It's not my vision. It's this team is Team Defy Gravity, and we are going to be a superstar team. You know, we are going to be the first superstar team that comes out of New Jersey. We are going to be the first team that comes from Together Rising that is going to hit super, like they know what we are capable of. So it's just become a really huge, it is a we thing. So I don't, it's hard to say how I would get them to do anything else. But yes, we've got group chats. We've got a Red Remedy thread. So as soon as it goes up, it's called Team Red Remedy. And then we go in there and we work on fixing the reds by a Sunday night deadline. So we are all really working in it together. We've got a huge whiteboard up, those kind of tools. But yeah, is that helpful? Rachel, is that helpful? And I think being really clear with your team, which for me, when I first started coaching was very hard, about your goals and your visions and where you see your team going. Because I think sometimes early on it can feel like, well, if I tell my team I want to go 2-star, it kind of feels like, well, am I telling them I just want to go 2-star? Like they think I want something, you know what I mean? So just being really open, like this is where I see this team going. This is what I know this team is capable of. Let's go. That's how we've approached it.
Yeah, I would say for me, last time it was a total Hail Mary at the Thursday before. And we did it, we made it happen. But it wasn't the right girls it was almost like they felt obligated. Half of them did. So my 15-star this quarter is pretty much half of them are brand new coaches that signed up in the last 3 months, maybe. And I would say a huge part of that is that I didn't back down from what I wanted out of this business and out of this, out of my goal. It took me a little bit longer to get here to superstar than I think some other coaches. I hear a lot, like Jessica, 3 years. It's amazing. And so I think honestly, it comes down to you believing, number one, that that's something you're capable of. Something Julie Vora said on a call the other day, like you have to believe you're capable of that yourself before your team goes there. And so I think that step number one is that personal belief. And it took me a hot minute after falling out. I was so embarrassed and so frustrated because who actually drops 15-star qualifications? I feel like you don't do that. There's so much on the line. So it took a lot to come back from that. And honestly, like a humility with my team of just saying like, that's on me that, I take ownership of where this team is going. Let's pick up the pieces and let's move on. And finding girls that wanted to be a part of that, that had bigger vision for their life and teaching them that diamond is just the first step in creating that vision. The next step is 2-star and really emphasizing 2-star when I'm doing a diamond push. This is not about diamond. Diamond isn't the finish line. 2-star is. When I started using that language, as soon as my girls went diamonds, they're talking about the next step. So I felt like that made us a lot stronger this round. And as soon as it really is a momentum thing. Like as soon as one person went diamond when we were pushing this time, the week before we went into superstar qualifications, we were 4-star team. And then we ended up with like 19 diamonds that Thursday. So I think that it comes down to deciding as a group, like we're going to do this. And then we had a lot of gaps to fill, like a lot. I look at what my girls did that week and I'm just like, why aren't we doing that every week? If you know that you can do this, why aren't you doing that every week? And so we did fill those gaps. Everyone was believing. And then every Thursday we do a call, which we didn't do last qualifications. We get on a call, we go through like what's needed, where the inactives are so that they're hearing from me. And I also have been inviting other top coaches to come onto those calls and discuss 1-star, 2-star, their best practices for moving forward. So my girls, this whole time, we only have 1 week left. So this whole time they've been focused on what's next. They have a 2-star date. They're growing forward. They're not just hanging on to their emeralds, which is totally different experience than the last time we did this. So those are just a few things. We also have a chat thread. But honestly, I think part of it is just my energy. Like the more excited I am and the closer I keep them to me talking and my mindset and where I'm at in my business and what I'm doing, the more that they're going to catch that fire and want to build on top of that. So I do feel like it's a combination of just me keeping them super close and saying, this is where we're going. This is what I believe in you being capable of. And then obviously just sticking on them as they do the work each week. But yeah.
19 diamonds in 1 week is just like mind blown. A couple good things I heard from, Jessica said, stop pulling and start linking. I think that's so important. Like, we're not here to pull people to do the things. Link arms, motivate each other, and you do have to believe in yourself for your team to start believing in the process as well. So good. Okay, next question is from Courtney. She asked, do you guys have an assistant? And if so, what do you have them do?
I don't right now. I have had them at different seasons in my journey, but not for long periods of time. I'm a control person. I really enjoy, and I know that that's working, not necessarily working smarter, but I also feel like I haven't found a rhythm that's like a combination of like finances and wanting to retain my income on a personal level. We're buying a home right now. Like, there's pieces of that I'm like, well, I can do this. And then the pieces of wanting to just be able to make sure that the process is happening the way I want it to happen, especially in my DMs. I don't want people, everyone doesn't need a response, but I need certain responses to certain people, and I need to not lose those conversations. And so I don't have one right now. It's crazy. I do work a lot as a result of that, but I do like it better because I feel like sorry, let me back up. 4 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, I did have one. Sorry, excuse me. 2 months ago, I did have one. And because we were moving into a new transition and wanting to buy a home and stuff, I just wanted to cut back on certain expenses. And so I cut that out. And as a result, I took more ownership of my business. I was inviting more. I was in the trenches more. I knew who I was talking to. I had a personal level connection with each person. And I do work with a lot of people. So I feel like that piece of it, you can't, I don't know, when you unengage with your daily activities, it's hard to teach your team those daily activities because you're just not in the trenches. I don't know. I just felt like removed in some ways from my business. So it helped me re-engage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, very similar to Courtney. I just, actually my team, the other elite coaches of my team have told me when we go 15 star, they're going to make me get an actual assistant that actually is really doing a lot of pieces. I'm the same way. I just, I work a lot and I'm a control, and I want my conversations going the way I want them. I want to be talking to my people. I want to be connecting. The thought of passing that off, and that just scares me. I know that's something obviously I'm going to have to work on as a leader, because you can't keep growing at this rate and be doing it all yourself. So that's a real struggle. I have somebody who helps me when I do a coach sneak peek. She will take the applications that come in, and then I have a standard reply. But then as soon as the reply comes and then they reply back, it's me with them. She puts it in a nice Google sheet for me. But then all the back and forth is me. And I also have somebody who I write all the content, all the pictures, and I make the newsletter and I send it to her, and she makes it look pretty and sends it out to my list, because I don't understand MailChimp. But those are the two things that I have help with.
Perfect. Great. Okay. Next question kind of goes back to inviting a little bit. Do you guys stick with a specific number of invites every single day? So I'm going to ask for you, and then what do you expect for your team to do as well every day?
Yeah, I mean, I only do probably 10 coach invites a day because I want to be personal and I want to make sure that I can actually respond to them when they respond to me. So I'll send 10 voice messages. That would be my goal. But again, this is where I'm at now. I was not like that, 2 years ago, whatever, even just a year ago. I felt like I was still in the phases of really growing social media, really building, relationships with people. So I definitely expect differently from my team, because I think you kind of have to earn that, it's like I put in a lot of time and effort. So thank goodness it's finally coming around, but yeah, so I do probably 10 voice messages for my team. I would say it depends on where they're at. Some coaches are just dipping their toe into coaching, and I try to break it down and say one thing a day. Like if it's one invite or 2 invites, like I'd rather them do something every day that is on the tracker than doing nothing and having pockets of like every other week they're expanding 100 invites and then they do nothing. And then, I feel like that's useless to me. I'd rather them build a consistency and build on that habit. So you do 1, okay, now in a couple weeks we can do 5. But the girls that are sprinting, they're doing 15 plus a day.
Jess, go ahead.
So yeah, I personally, I do batches. So I don't do daily inviting. I do essentially I blitz right when I have my boot camp coming up, then I have my sneak peek. Every single day I'm following up, I'm connecting, I'm talking to people, I'm breadcrumbing. I'm not ever not inviting, I guess I would say, but I do them in, I want to get in the mode and I do my invites, and then I know 2 days later, this is where I'm at. I teach my coaches though to use the bat. They have consistency. They have to be doing it every day. And right, whatever the bat says, invite 3 people a day. Okay, but if you want your success club here and you want to be helping these people and you want your business here, then you've got to up that number, so really depending on their goals, they have to increase that number or 10x it or look at their results. Like, hey, you're inviting 15 people a day and you still don't have anybody coming. So let's up the invites. Let's look at the invites. Let's look at the conversations. Like, let's see where the disconnect is. If you're inviting 50 people and nobody's coming, I think what's happening in the invite is more important than sometimes how many they're sending.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think that's gold. What's happening in the invite is the invite, making sure that that's dialed in and keeping it extremely simple, which you guys both seem to do, like keeping it simple, follow the business activity tracker for your team, focus on one thing. I'd rather you do one thing than a whole bunch of things that aren't working, right? Very smart. Okay, this question is for Courtney. It's from Rachel. You have a very large social media following on Instagram. What is your was that organic growth, or was it strategy to grow that community, and how?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is a dragon, right? It's like you're trying to tackle it. But so I would say that it is natural, like that it's been 4.5 years of effort and work and showing up consistently. I would say the key contributors, when I look at what I'm doing and how I'm doing things for my new coaches, I try to tell them, number one, it's vulnerability. From the beginning, I have been super vulnerable. Like, I love writing. It's a gift and a passion of mine. And so I kind of treated Instagram as like a mini blog, if you will. And so from the beginning, I've always shared pieces of our love story. We have a really unique way that we met, pieces of our fertility journey. We've been on that now for 4 years. So there's just been pieces of my life that I've been extremely honest and emotional in sharing. And that has always done the best. It's mostly, I started it by accident. I did it because I was just trying to process my own life. And I found that was a great outlet to do that. And then it related with a lot of people. So I think just being relatable, number one. The other thing that I would say that has worked recently, probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have grown probably 10 to 12,000 followers. And that was by tagging bigger accounts that are related to what I'm doing or what I'm sharing about and talking about. And I actually got reposted, and then it kind of got reposted and it was like one big account reposted it, and then another big account reposted it, and then another big account reposted it. So I think that that's a huge thing that I didn't even know that I was doing either. That it, if it could take off, it would take off type of a thing. So I don't know. I've always known my audience. I guess I would just say that I've always known my audience. I've been clear on who that is. I've been consistent, posting every single day. I tell my girls, social media is social. So if you want people to give you likes, you want people to give you comments, you want people to respond to your stories, why aren't you doing that to other people? Like, you go on social media and you're like, where are my people? Why aren't they giving me these things? But it's like, why would you expect someone to give what you're not giving yourself? So I tell them, like, spend, as whatever time you have, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter, and go give to people what you want to receive. And when you're doing that, you're going to see a huge response in, I guess, what people are giving back to you. So
seriously, mic drop. Social media is social. Like, go out there and be social. Go talk to your people. Go like, go comment, and narrow in on your brand. Who are you talking to? What is this person wanting every single day, which Courtney's done a great job doing. Okay, Jessica, question for you. This is from Joe. If you see someone that would make a great coach, what is your process of having them to start with the team? Do you use a form and have them, or are you blunt? Do you form them, or are you more blunt?
Yeah, I form them and I'm blunt. So yeah, I mean, I would never have gone to like just a random trainer that I see on Instagram that looks great and be like, oh my God, you should join my team. That's just, I wouldn't like that if somebody did that to me. So I will, like, follow and watch them and like some different things and do some messaging back and forth. Like, somebody was doing pull-ups the other day and I, said something about that, and then squats. So I will, so yeah, I guess it's forming, but then, yeah, as far as asking, then I'm like, it's very simple. Have you ever thought about doing this like online coaching thing? Like, you'd be amazing at this. Or, ask a question like, I see you're coaching. Like, how is that? What do you do? What are you doing now while you're home? Or how's that working? Because sometimes people say, well, I already coach. And sometimes I'll be as blunt and I'll say, oh, okay, I see your stuff. How do you monetize that? Because a lot of people are like, I'm already a nutritionist, I'm already a health coach. And I'm like, I know, but I see you have like 45 followers and I don't think you're probably making a ton of money doing it. In my head, I wouldn't say that to them, but I'm just like, oh, how are you monetizing that? How is that working for you?
That's great. I mean, I think asking
But
questions.
that's the blunt part, I guess. But
yeah.
Joe, there's the Jersey part.
I love it. No, I think it is asking questions. Well, how's that going for you?
Yeah.
Like, don't be
I
so
had one
afraid.
girl that was like, well, yeah, I get paid like $25 an hour to personally. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, look at you. Look at the value you're providing. Look at what you do. Look at how you look. Look at your knowledge. I was like, you should not be making $25 an hour for a personal training session. Like, that's no, like, I know I was there. I was doing it, so I think it's fair.
I think so too. I love that. Okay, next question. This one's a little lengthy, so I'm going to try to run through it. I do a ton of personal development. I know I shouldn't care, but I still have hard time gapping or with rejections, especially when it's inviting to coaching. So how do you guys handle rejections?
I can kind of share a little bit. So with the increase in social media the last few weeks, I've had a lot of new, not so nice people, which honestly, I haven't really had over the last few years of building my social media. It's mostly been people that actually are really kind and enjoy the stuff that I'm putting out there. So it was a little bit of a shock to my system to have such rude comments and just like some mean messages and things like that. And even like, and I think this can be the same, whether it's that or it's through your invites and you're receiving rejection. Any kind of negative response from a person can be harmful. It can hurt. It can lead to negative things. But so I would say for me, I'm a Christian. So a huge part of it is just understanding where my identity comes from. So, and whether you're a Christian or not, like, you need to know where your identity and your worth comes from. And that should not be tied into someone who doesn't know you or someone who may think they know you, but maybe you've changed. So I would say a huge part of that is just, this is my identity. And if the opinion or the rejection is outside of this, then I'm not going to be shaken in what I'm doing. And then the second piece of it is just taking an unoffendable heart. And I teach this to my coaches a lot. You cannot be offensive in this business. Like, you can't constantly feel like your heart is being offended. You have to take that emotion out and have an unoffendable heart, where it's like, whatever you say to me, whatever you do to me, I'm not going to be offended, because a lot of times that has nothing to do with you or with me, and everything to do with you. For example, I had a new coach who her husband was so excited for her and was chatting with their neighbor about her new job, with coaching and whatever, and invited this lady to the boot camp that his wife was hosting. Awesome husband, right? Like, I think that's the sweetest thing ever. Unfortunately, the neighbor took it really negatively and was super mad and offended and all of this. I don't know how that happened, but the reality was this girl wanted to quit because she felt like her neighbor, who she lives next to, now hates her and didn't like what happened. And I said, honestly, do you want to change your vision because of what this girl and how she has responded? Or are you going to choose to have an unoffendable heart and say, my vision is still important. My vision has not changed. And unfortunately, she took it the wrong way. And that is what it is. But it's what she's going through. I don't know what she's going through. And I'm going to choose to carry on anyways. And she made the wise choice, and she chose to release those emotions and continue anyways. The next month, that girl signed up for her boot camp because she was dealing with insecurities. She was dealing with her own struggles in her journey. And I'm not saying that every hater is like, oh, you're just insecure. That's not necessarily the case. There could be legit hate there. I don't know. But I feel like we don't know. And so us choosing to hoard all of these emotions that other people are putting on us, that's a choice. So choose not to. Make a different choice. It's just like with our health and nutrition, choose a different choice when it comes to your nutrition. You don't have to choose the cookie. You don't have to choose emotional eating. Choose a different choice. So I just keep repeating over myself, unoffendable heart, unoffendable heart, unoffendable heart. At the end of the day, I'm here and I know my heart and my intentions. I'm going to try to grow from any negative experience that I have. Maybe I did say something wrong, and then, move on from there. But that's my thought.
Yeah, very similar approach. I haven't had a lot of negativity, thank goodness. But I teach my team exactly what Courtney's saying. I mean, I love the 4 agreements, right? Don't personalize. It's always their stuff. And I say, if you go forth, in your heart what you're offering and what you have to give. And my work is so rooted in my belief in overall wellness and what that does for people. I really can't get offended. Any time I would spend worrying about somebody who thinks my heart is not pure, and I have had that with family members, is just time that takes away from the work I'm supposed to be doing in this world with wellness. So that's just a waste of that's a waste of my time. And I teach my team, someone said the other day, oh, someone thinks I'm doing something shady. I said, well, are you doing something shady? Then we don't have anything to worry about. Full, pure hearts can't lose. And just, there's no time for that. We have work to do. We have too many lives to save.
Yes, full, pure hearts can't lose. It's so true. Thank you guys so much. Okay, next question is from Rachel. What advice do you give your coaches that struggle with developing a strong why? I have a coach that says they're happy with their day job, but wants to be more successful with Beachbody, but has no desire to leave their job and is struggling to find a way to motivate themselves to do the unsexy things with coaching. What do you share with your team that struggles with that?
Well,
My question,
yeah.
my only question would be define success for you. If you want to be more successful, then you need to get clear on what that success actually means in detail. And then from there, you can point how the tracker is going to either create that, or if they're success for them is just having their little team and staying where they're at, then that's great. Then they're there. So maybe it's just a misalignment of what success actually means and understanding what the business does.
Yeah, we do a why exercise in the beginning of our Getting Started Coaches Right process. So that comes in very, very early on. And I think, right, some people don't want to leave their job, but then you need to know and talk to them as a coach. Then what do you want from this, right? What do you want, and what's your reasoning? And then you can help them get there. But if we don't know their goals and what they want to do, we can't help them. we're trying to make a 2-star diamond out of someone who just wants to be a strong diamond and come on the retreats and be part of the community. Like we need, that's like, I would say more of a communication thing.
Totally agree. Communication, have them define what success is for them. I think that's super powerful. Okay, next question from Lauren. What is your best advice of getting a brand new coaches started doing the themes? How do you get your brand new coaches started?
We keep it super simple. Moira Kusaba did a national wake up call on it. I think it was this year, the beginning of this year. And I pretty much follow her outline, obviously with my own tweaks, but with the idea of they come in, they do a month in our wellness group. I want them to fall in love with the group, the results, learn about the tools, and then have no choice but to want to share that and pay it forward. So during that first month, as they're doing that, we have them in a small thread together, and then we are helping them obviously through their process as a challenger, because your job is your journey, right? It starts there. And we're also encouraging them and doing weekly calls with them about pieces of the business. So it's like, okay, great. And find 2 friends, and this is the next thing, get a buddy. Just like if you signed up for like a Spartan race, like you don't go do that by yourself. Like let's just get some friends, talk to some people, here's a video on curiosity marketing if you want to start posting here. It's just little drips and drabs in a thread. And usually by the end of that month, the people who are going to move forward in coaching, have gotten themselves to Emerald and Success Club. We talked about Success Club, the trip, getting the test group, but it's not a formal coach training until after that first month. Then they go into like a new coach university.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty serious about my new coach training, and I take it really seriously from the beginning. So I may push my girls too hard, but the reality is like the level and the culture and team that I want is up here. So I'm not going to lower my standards or my trainings because as a result. So it's kind of like, and it took me a while to be okay with that. It took me a while to be okay with the fact that I might not be the right coach for every coach out there. If someone just wants to take it slow and steady and whatnot, like that's fine. They have a place on our team, but I'm also sprinting and I want to work with sprinters. So I kind of put heavier expectations on my girls from the beginning because I came into this wanting financial freedom and wanting bigger things out of life. And so for me, we do a getting started right call every single week. I'm very clear on what Success Starters is. I give them a social media guidebook that I created myself so that they know they can figure out how to post on social media and what to post on social media. And then I also have weekly calls where I'm checking in, and every week I give them homework. So some people need a little bit more bite-sized chunks, and so that's what I'm doing right now. That seems to be working. I gave them homework in a group chat. They have to post their homework so that I can see it and give any feedback. Something that's working super well with new coaches on my team though is seeing what they're doing. Like I need to see their invites, kind of like Jessica mentioned at the beginning. I was missing that piece of it, and I was wondering like, why are they inviting and not signing anyone up? And then as soon as I started asking them to send me screenshots, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got a big problem here. And so then being able to correct them in, going through their personal messages made a big difference from the beginning of their journey, so that they weren't just roasting every connection that they have and kind of burning bridges, if that makes sense. So I think that's a huge part to helping people be successful. But I think it's figuring out like your new coach training and onboarding should be based on what you want to achieve as a coach and what you think is going to help them see success. So if you have higher standards and you're afraid of pushing your team, then you need to figure out a way to do that and be okay with pushing your team. Like I think that there shouldn't be a problem with having high expectations of people when they come in to build a business.
Yes, I love having your new coaches send you screenshots. I call that playing 007, like really getting in and being like, what's the situation here? And let me make sure that I want you to be successful. So maybe if I do need to tweak some wording, because it does sound a little weird, I can do that from the beginning instead of, a year in and you're still struggling.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, 2 questions left. This one's from Kimberly. If you have to pick one thing that really changed the momentum of your business or confidence as a leader, what would you say it was? Questions for both, yeah.
It's a good question.
I'm thinking.
They stumped you?
I feel like it's not just one thing. I think it's just the choices that I've made over time that have created, where I am today, because there's been so many moments over the last 4.5 years. I feel like I've been through the ringer with different things in this business. And I'm like, shoot, I could have walked away at any point. And I have almost, like, I've been on that line of just like, is this actually worth it? Is this what I really want? And asking that question of yourself, I think, keeps you fully committed, because you know that when you're in that place, when you're having to climb your way back up, you're asking yourself an important question of saying, do I really want this? Is this something I'm interested in, or am I actually committed to? Ride or die, up or down, I'm sticking this out and I'm finding a way through. And every time I've had to go through that question processing over the years, I've gotten stronger and stronger in my conviction of what I'm doing, in my commitment to what I'm doing, and in my purpose as a coach. So I think that just comes down to getting kicked down and having to climb back up, because I made that decision in those tiny moments where it mattered the most, that this is actually what I wanted to do, and I was willing to fight for it.
Yeah, I agree. It's really hard to say just one thing, like Courtney said, but right, it's those, in January of last year, what are we in, 20? Are we in 2020, 2019? I was a 5-star elite. And my third daughter is special needs, and she was having a very difficult time. And I had to leave with her and go down to live with my mom in South Carolina and leave the rest of my family in New Jersey, because it was at such a dysfunctional place that it was either to send her someplace or leave with her to take her someplace to help her. And that was the month I was supposed to hit my 24 months for Success Club. And I just, All-Star, when you get 10 plus. And that was just such a huge turning point in my business, where I had to decide, was this all too much? Did I just need to kind of throw it all in and just focus on her? Or did I need to keep building this, and with the idea of, this is going to give us the freedom and the flexibility to be able to help her and to be able to be home. And so I think that, and doing it from my mom's house by myself with her, and still moving my business forward, and my team seeing that, and seeing that I still hit my goals, I still hit all the milestones I did, and I didn't go away. Really help them see me as a leader, and know how much of my heart is in this work. And it also allowed me to see how much this can be done through hard. Like, if I can do it through that period, living alone with my daughter through the situation, I can do it through anything. So if then whatever the next hard is, it's not as hard as that, So that really gave me a lot of confidence as a leader, and it allowed my team to really lean in and help pick me up. They were doing burpees for Ella, like, all over the internet and tagging everywhere, and that allowed me to see how much of this really is a team sport. And I think that's where our team cohesiveness really came from, that idea of just always picking each other up, like, through the hard, keep going. What's the next best step? So I think that was a big turning point.
So powerful. I mean, I think you guys both just said, making the decision to never, ever give up. Like, you never give up in this business, and you're going to go through the ringer, and there's hard times. But if you make that decision every day, I'm never giving up on my goals, I'm never giving up on myself, that's what's going to change your business. Okay, last question. So what I have for you want to know actually is there's 50 people on this call. What is the one thing that you could tell every single person on this call to go do today to make a difference?
Something that I challenged my diamonds to do yesterday was to call 2 people on their team. You can do discount coaches, clients, coaches, whatever, but like an actual just random phone call, not a planned Zoom. Have a conversation with them about their life. What are they doing for Memorial Day weekend? You know, just really relationship building. I think that that goes a long way for people to feel known and seen and loved. So that was my challenge to them. So I'm going to challenge you guys. Don't plan a Zoom, don't talk business, like just go have a conversation with someone and build that relationship, because when people feel that connection, they're going to be in with you in the trenches, qualifications, all the things.
I agree with Courtney. I have one of my newest diamonds. Her mother just went into hospice. And she's got an issue happening with her emerald, and her team is this. And I just took the time to, to call her and say, like, can I, like, I feel terrible. Like, what can we do? So I really think that being human, sorry to say the same thing, but just, I don't have an answer. I don't know what to go do today, but I just want to piggyback on that. I just think being human always first. Yes, we're running at businesses. Yes, we're running teams. Yes, we're that, but it's, how would you want somebody to reach out to you and to connect with you, and with your wellness warriors too, when stuff is, I call mine wellness warriors, not challengers, but with your challengers too. Reach out to a challenger, that said something about how she's losing her mind because she's home trying to work and all kid, and just say, like, I saw your post, I just want to check in, anything I can do extra to help, just those little touches.
Wow, guys, I think that is super, super powerful right now. Like really leaning into someone, building the community with someone, building that relationship with someone. I say this all the time, but now more than ever, people need us. So it's time to lean in so hard, more than we ever have before, into the business, into the relationships, into our challenge groups, and get people results if it is with, a challenge group, or results with the business, or however we can help them, because this is a time, like I said, now more than ever, people need us. Court, Jess, thank you guys so much. This was such an awesome call. Thank you for letting us ask you all these grilling questions. We really appreciate you guys being here. Everyone else, we'll see you guys next week on another Best of the Best call we'll do. We'll have 2 more people that will be drilling with questions, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you guys so much. Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Jess. Bye.